Alrighty, thanks again for joining me here on 3-Minute Knives, where we go over the ins and outs of a particular knife in 3 minutes or less. Today we have the Cjrb Kicker. The Cjrb Kicker with the Recoil Lock. Now the Recoil Lock is Artisan Cutlery, who is the parent company of Cjrb. It is their version of the Benchmade Axis Lock. The patent for the Axis Lock expired, so you have a lot of companies now coming out with their own versions. Artisan Cutlery did a decent job, but there's a couple things about it that I do not care for. Number one, it's not quite as intuitive as the Axis Lock. It doesn't feel quite as comfortable to me. But let's get the specs for this particular knife out of the way real quick. Overall length is 8.25 inches. Blade length 3.5 inches. Width is 1 inch. Thickness is 0.3 inches. It is D2. This is labeled as a clip point, but it's kind of a worn clippy clip point. It is a flat grind with a stonewash finish. Nice stonewash finish, which is pretty much what Cjrb does with most of their knives. Plain edge. I don't think they have a serrated edge for the kicker. Handle length is 4.75 inches. Width is 1 inch. Handle thickness is 1/2 inch. G10 have, as far as I know, they come in green, which is what this one is, black and blue. It's actually a very nice G10, a very light texture, which offers just enough, grip on there. You're not going to be sliding off. Nice little accented pivot collar. Stainless steel liners. Nice deep carry pocket clip. So the Recoil Lock, it's almost the same thing as the Axis Lock, except you kind of have this whole piece right here, this little carriage that kind of slides the bar back. If you can see that bar right there, it just kind of slides it back and forth and unlocks it. But what I found, it's not quite as comfortable to me. You can get it to where you're pretty good with it. If you want to try and do it like this, it's not as comfortable to me. A little bit of a difference between this and an Axis Lock is you have this detent, which is just the way this carriage and bar is made, which kind of stops the blade right there. So when the blade is falling, you have to release right before it gets down here for it to close all the way. And you can get it pretty good. Now for me, just by doing it with one finger is not quite as comfortable. But if you practice, you can get it. It's just not quite as intuitive as an Axis Lock, which most people can pick that up right away and get the hang of it. For me, also, if you're sitting here flipping it a lot, the pocket clip is kind of sharp. So where my fingers rest when I'm closing it, it's right on the edge of this pocket clip, and that kind of gets annoying. The biggest drawback that I have found with the Recoil Lock is because it's placed on top of the knife up here. Now in general, for most type of cutting that most of us are going to be doing, when you're just slicing paper, slicing some cardboard, it's not going to be an issue. But if you use this to, really, if you're bearing down on something and you've got your thumb up here, which when you're holding it, you kind of naturally want to place your thumb right here. And if you're bearing down on something and you accidentally pull back slightly on this, you're closing that. And say you're trying to shave some wood shavings or whatever, and you are bearing down and you lightly pull back. If this slips all the way, you're going to be in trouble. So to me, that's kind of a safety issue, because it doesn't take much pressure at all to bring that back, and you could really do some damage to at least this first finger and maybe a few others. So, other than that, it's pretty cool. The axis lock I think is definitely a better style of lock, but you can get it to where it's fun to flip. I just wouldn't use this for any hard use tasks. That's my impression of it anyway. Anyway, the Cjrb Kicker with the recoil lock. So just keep a couple of those things that I said in mind and you'll be good to go. Sorry this one went a little bit longer today. I just really wanted to explain more about this recoil lock and the issue that I have with it. So there you go, Cjrb Kicker.